The Girls in the Barn, a forgotten folktale. Once, in a small village surrounded by green hills, there lived a man named Thomas and his wife, Elena. They had 2 daughters, Mira, who was 10 years old, and her little sister, Dana, who was only 6. The family was poor, but their home was rich with laughter. Every evening, Elena would sing to her girls before they fell asleep, and Thomas would carry them on his shoulders through the fields. It was, by every measure, a happy home, but happiness, as it so often does, did not last forever. One winter, Elena fell terribly ill. No medicine could save her, and within weeks she was gone. Thomas and his daughters were shattered. For days they could not eat, for nights they could not sleep. The house that once echoed with songs now sat in silence, heavy with grief. As the months passed, Thomas found himself drowning. "I cannot cook, I cannot fetch water, I cannot raise these girls alone," he whispered to himself one night. "I need a wife. My daughters need a mother." So he began to search the village for someone new. It didn't take long before he met a woman named Ivy. She was strikingly beautiful, with a smile that could light up a room, and Thomas fell for her almost instantly. He knelt before her one evening and said, "Please, marry me. Be my wife and be a mother to my daughters." Ivy smiled sweetly, but there was something cold behind her eyes. "I will marry you," she said slowly, "but I will not raise your children. Send them away, and I will be yours." Thomas froze. His heart was torn in 2 directions, love for the woman standing before him, and love for the 2 little girls sleeping just down the hall. "I cannot lose her," he thought desperately, "but I cannot lose my daughters either. I will hide them. They will be safe, and maybe, in time, she will come to love them." So he agreed. "I will send my daughters away," he told Ivy. That night he sat his daughters down. "Tomorrow, I am getting married again," he said gently. "But my new wife does not like children. You must hide in the barn. Don't be afraid. She will bring you food, I promise." Mira and Dana were confused, but they trusted their father completely. So the next morning, they crept quietly into the old wooden barn and waited. Ivy moved into the house soon after, completely unaware that 2 little girls were hiding just outside her window. Thomas pulled her aside and told her a lie. "My father passed away many years ago," he said, "but his spirit still lingers in that barn. My grandfather's spirit lives there too, along with the spirits of all our ancestors. They are always hungry. It is now your duty to feed them. Breakfast at sunrise, lunch at midday, and dinner when the sun sets." Ivy was unhappy about the strange task, but she agreed. Every single day, she carried plates of food out to the barn, believing she was feeding restless spirits. In reality, it was Mira and Dana, quietly eating every meal she left behind, growing a little stronger each day. Weeks passed this way until one afternoon, Ivy visited the village hairdresser. As she sat in the chair getting her hair styled, she chatted casually. "Please hurry," she said. "It's almost noon and I need to feed my husband's ancestors in the barn." The hairdresser burst out laughing. "Ancestors? There are no ancestors in that barn. Those are his daughters. You've been feeding 2 little girls this entire time." Ivy's face went pale and then red with fury. "He lied to me," she screamed, storming out of the shop. "Those useless, foolish girls, I hate them. I won't feed them another day." Blinded by rage, Ivy ran home, grabbed a pot of boiling water from the fire, and hurled it straight into the barn. "I will never feed you again," she shrieked. "Get out!" Mira and Dana barely had time to leap out of the way. The scalding water splashed across a pile of dried chickpeas sitting in the corner, softening them instantly. Little Dana began to cry. "Our stepmother won't feed us anymore," she sobbed. "I'm so hungry." Mira wrapped her arms around her sister. "Don't worry," she whispered. "Look, the water landed on the chickpeas. They're soft now. We can eat them." And so, that day, the 2 sisters survived on nothing but softened chickpeas. That evening, Thomas returned home to find his wife waiting, arms crossed, eyes burning with anger. "You lied to me," she shouted. "I know the truth now. There are no ancestors in that barn. I've been feeding your daughters this whole time, and I will not do it anymore. If you want me to stay, take those girls far away from here." Thomas's heart broke all over again. "Please," he begged. "They are my daughters. I cannot send them away." But Ivy's voice turned to ice. "Choose," she said. "Me or your daughters. You cannot have both." Thomas looked at her, torn once more between the woman he loved and the children who were his own blood. "Fine," he said quietly, defeated. "I will take them away tomorrow." The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, Thomas woke his daughters. "Come with me," he said softly. The three of them walked deep into the forest all day long. By nightfall, the girls were exhausted. "We'll rest here," Thomas said, "under this tree." The girls lay down to sleep, with their father lying between them, just like always. Once he was sure they were asleep, Thomas rose silently. "If I leave them a piece of me, they'll think I'm still here," he thought. He found a thick branch and placed it gently between his sleeping daughters, hoping they would feel it in the night and believe he was still lying beside them. Then he slipped away into the darkness and returned home to Ivy. In the middle of the night, the girls were startled awake by a strange, low growl. "What was that sound?" Dana whispered, terrified. "It's a lion," Mira said, her voice shaking. "It's going to eat us." "I'm scared," Dana cried. "We're wearing leather clothes," Mira said quickly. "We can tear off pieces and throw them to it." So the two sisters ripped strips of leather from their clothing and tossed them into the darkness, piece by piece, until finally the growling faded away and the creature left. When morning came, the girls woke to an empty space where their father had been. "Papa is gone," Dana said, looking around in confusion. "What do we do now?" Mira asked, panic rising in her chest. She climbed up into a nearby tree to get a better view. "I see something," she shouted down. "There's a big, beautiful house over there, with cows and sheep outside. Let's go. Maybe they'll give us food." The sisters made their way to the edge of the forest and stared at the house in the distance. A man stepped outside and the girls froze in place. He was tall, with a twisted, cruel face. "That's a sorcerer," Mira whispered, gripping her sister's hand. "We have to be very, very careful." The girls hid in the bushes and watched as the sorcerer left the house with his animals for the day. "Wait here," Mira told her sister. "I'll sneak in and find us some food." She dashed toward the house, grabbed whatever she could find, and brought it back to share with Dana. She did this every single day, sneaking in and out unnoticed. But on the fourth day, Dana complained, "You always get to go inside. It's not fair. I want to go today too." "But you're not fast enough," Mira warned. "The sorcerer will catch you." "I run fast," Dana insisted. "I'm not staying here alone. I'm coming with you." Mira hesitated but eventually gave in. The two girls ran toward the house together, but Dana was too slow. She lingered too long inside and the sorcerer caught her. He shoved her into a large sack, tied it shut with rope, and hoisted it up onto the roof. "Got you," he cackled. "And now I'll keep you right there." Mira, hidden outside, waited for what felt like hours. Finally, the sorcerer left with his animals again. Mira rushed inside, calling out, "Sister, where are you?" "I'm up here," Dana's muffled voice called back. Mira climbed up, cut the rope, and pulled the sack down, freeing her terrified little sister. Quickly, the two girls filled the empty sack with heavy stones instead, and hoisted it back onto the roof exactly where it had been. That night, when the sorcerer returned, he grabbed the sack and sneered, "Girl, now I've got you." He swung his staff and struck it hard, but instead of a scream, the sack burst open, and the stones came crashing down on top of him. He died instantly, crushed beneath his own trap. Mira and Dana stayed on in the sorcerer's house from that day forward, tending to the cows and sheep that once belonged to him. And there, far from the father who abandoned them and the stepmother who tried to starve them, the two sisters finally lived the rest of their days in peace and happiness.